Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video. Initially, I was just gonna throw some background music up in here and call it a day, but I decided to give y'all an earful while y'all watch me do my makeup. I filmed this video a few days ago. I was actually getting ready for my dinner party. So, because I didn't film a podcast episode, I still wanted to give y'all something. And as I was editing, I decided, maybe I can talk to them a little bit while I do my makeup. A little makeup therapy, if you will. So, the topic of today's video is going to be separation and detachment, which is honestly something that I struggle with. I feel like, honestly speaking, typically it's easy for me to detach and separate from people, but I think when you just meet somebody who triggers your soul to expand and opens up the door for you to experience a whole new world, it's kind of hard to detach, because you know that you view that person or you're connected to that person on a soul level. But right now, I'm realizing that some people awaken our souls just so we can have those outer body experiences, but that doesn't mean that those people are necessarily supposed to stay in our life. I think for sure we will get reacquainted with them if that's part of God's plan or our soul purpose. But I think that I'm learning that regardless of what role somebody plays in your life, it's important to detach and separate yourself from certain people when the time comes. And to elaborate, when I say out-of-body experience, I mean having that experience of somebody comes into your lives and really just awakens a whole new world for you. A few years ago, I met somebody who triggered me to have a spiritual awakening. And I've had this attachment to this person. And I'm realizing that maybe, just maybe, God put that person in my life so that I could awaken spiritually. But that doesn't mean that I have to be attached to that person or that person has to be attached to me. I think when we meet people who give us a different feel than what we're used to, we can become a little codependent just because the energy or the vibe that they bring. But I think sometimes the way people show up for us in different seasons of our lives are the versions of them that we need in that moment. They bring certain energy and a certain character that resonates with us in a particular moment, but sometimes what they bring doesn't necessarily align to where we are now or how we grow, which is why I think some people are definitely seasonal, and it's important to know when to detach. And I'm not trying to put y'all too much into my business, but this is Detox, the spiritual detox. So I am fulfilling my purpose behind this podcast by being transparent right now. And also, I feel like you never know what season of a person's life they're currently in. Your season of reconciliation may not be their season of reconciliation. So I think it's important to also take note that sometimes patience is required, especially when we're trying to merge our lives with somebody else's, or we have a certain expectation or idea of how somebody should show up for us. I think sometimes we often feel rejected when it's not even that. Sometimes people just don't have the time or the mental capacity to show up the way that you need or want them to. And I think that's perfectly normal. And I want to say it's okay, because just think about the times that you've been in a season where you couldn't quite show up for somebody the way you wanted to, and think about how that made you feel. I told y'all before, I take everything personally. So when somebody doesn't show up for me the way that I would show up for them, I take it to heart. And I'm battling with my anger issues for sure. Okay, so I may sometimes react out of emotion. And that's another thing that I'm learning in this season of my life. Like, don't take everything personal. Allow things to be what they are, and allow things to flow naturally. I feel like when God separates you from certain people, there's definitely a reason behind it. And I think that being impatient can trigger feelings of rejection, because things aren't happening when and how we want them to, which is why being patient and going with the flow is really important. And for me personally, I hate being told to be patient, because I'm used to being able to control situations, but I'm realizing that a lot of situations, majority of the situations that I'm dealing with in this current season of my life is literally beyond my control. And I'm realizing to just take time for myself and be intentional with the way that I pour into myself, so that I can attract the right people that are going to pour into me the way that I pour into others. People that are going to continue to expand my mind. People who are going to broaden my horizons. People who just resonate with me at a soul level. That's what I want to attract into my life right now. I also want to say, y'all, that I feel like sometimes people look at me as this supernatural human being because I take pride in my spirituality, and I do my best to walk with my head held high. But I'm a human being. I definitely have had my fair share of struggles. My life is literally nowhere near perfect. So I think that also it's important not to look at people and put them on a pedestal, because I could very well be going through the same exact thing as you, but because you hold me to such high regard, you don't see the human in me. So you feel like it's almost impossible for me to walk in your shoes, when that's not true. I've probably been through a lot more than most, okay? I just made the choice to handle every situation with grace, because at the end of the day, I can't do anything to change what happened to me, or how I grew up or what I've been through. The only thing I could do is accept it, take it for what it is, and continue to put my best foot forward. I may seem like an open book, but I definitely go through a lot that I don't broadcast on social media, because I feel like everything isn't for somebody else's entertainment. Me starting this podcast was to give myself and others a platform to be transparent, because I understand how hard that can be But it's tough putting your feelings and emotions out there. It's tough opening up to people about what you've been through or what you overcame, because you never really know how a person might try to like spin your narrative or your story. But I just wanted to say that because I feel like conversations I've had with people recently, they always tell me that I seem so well put together. And I love that compliment for me. I really do. But I also want y'all to know that like I go through things too. The strong ones, or the seemingly strong ones, we be going through it. We just get through it. And truth be told, sometimes I don't even understand how I still manage to show up through some of the things that I've been through. But what I will say is, I know a God, and I depend on and rely on God for my strength. When I don't have the strength, I come to Him for that additional strength. So I basically say all of this to say, don't ever think you know what somebody may be going through based off of what you see, because everybody has a different way of transmuting their pain. And I think my way is just pouring into creative endeavors and just keeping busy so that I am not constantly in my feelings or in my head. But I also think that having a therapist and people to pour into that I can trust also helps. And I feel like if you are someone who is currently going through a season of trial and tribulations, it's okay to get a therapist. It's okay to confide in a trusted family member or a relative. And if you don't have that type of companion, then I would recommend really trying to find a therapist. And maybe if you don't have the finances for that, I would recommend other resources. There definitely are resources out there that can help you during this season. And I'm willing to listen to whatever it is that you may be going through. I don't care if I know you or not, because I know how it feels to feel like you have no one. And I never want anybody to be alone during a season of hardships, because again, I've been there, and I know that that can drive you over the edge. And I feel like that's preventable when you have a healthy form of releasing. If you're up for it, I would like everybody who is currently listening in to tune into the comments and let me know where you are in life right now, and if it's where you want to be. And if it's not, I want to know what steps you think you can take to get to wherever it is that you desire to be. I'll start the conversation by saying I am not where I want to be, but I feel like I'm doing everything in my power to get to where I want to be. And I definitely feel like it's frustrating not being where you imagined yourself to be. But also, I think we're all exactly where we need to be right now. I keep telling myself this, so I'm going to share this with y'all. God is very intentional, and He has a purpose for all of our lives. So just because you feel like you're not doing something right does not mean that what you're doing right now or where you are right now isn't in alignment with what God has planned out for you. I fully expected to be a millionaire with a massive home, married with about 2 kids by now. And all I got out of that so far is one child. No marriage. I'm a single mother. And I ain't nowhere near a millionaire. But that does not mean that I'm not still walking in my purpose. We and God has two different purposes for our lives. And I would rather walk in the purpose that God has intended for me rather than the purpose that I set out for myself. Because, like I said before, God's plan definitely, without a doubt, always ends up overshadowing our plans. And I think for a very good cause, because a lot of the times we don't see what God sees in us. And we don't have that supernatural faith that, certain things can happen for us when they in fact can. So I am going with the flow and I'm allowing God to take control. I was just talking to my best friend about how I decided to go into my birthday with no expectations. And she was like, and look at what that got you. Because she literally surprised me for my birthday. I literally was not expecting it at all. I was thinking we were going to a restaurant for lunch. And she surprised me with brunch on the dock right by the water, which was literally like a dream. So I think it's important to just go with the flow and not have certain expectations of how your life should go. I think definitely it's important to know like what you desire or what you're passionate about, because I think that having something to keep yourself busy and like having passions are very important, but don't get too caught up making all of these extra plans. Allow things to be what they're supposed to be. I think I'm realizing that it's good to not be in control of every situation. At this point, y'all, I feel like I'm just repeating myself, but seriously, it really is important to just allow God to be in control and just go with the flow of things. Life gets so much better when you live with no expectations. I did not expect things to transpire the way that they did this year, but I'm telling you, I'm grateful that everything happened the way it did. I'm grateful to be exactly where I am right now at my mama's house. I'm grateful that I've been able to come to terms with my situation and just be at peace in general. I definitely got too comfortable being uncomfortable, and God knew exactly when to step in and intervene. And although I was uncomfortable for a very short amount of time, I'm thankful for the discomfort. I'm thankful for the separation. I'm thankful for the elevation. Hell, I'm even thankful for the struggles, baby, because I know one day it'll all be a testimony. My advice to y'all is to be an alchemist when things start to hit the fan. When you're met with uncertainty and you don't know how to maneuver, do what makes you happy. Because that's going to be the quickest way to you getting back on your feet. Don't try to rush or force things to happen. Just take everything one day at a time. My therapist said to me, "How do you eat an elephant?" I said, "One plate at a time." And guess what? I was correct. So look at life that way. Instead of looking at the big picture, Focus on taking one step at a time. And if you know that you're doing all that you can do, stop stressing yourself out about what's not being done or what you don't have. Everything is going to fall in line exactly when it's supposed to. So just be mindful and know that sometimes all that you're doing right now is all that you're able to do. And that's okay. Be okay with being in a limbo or seemingly feeling stagnant. Okay? Be okay with enjoying a period of rest. You don't always have to do. Sometimes you just need to be and allow things to unfold how they need to, naturally. There's a quote by Morgan Harper that says, even in the waiting, she has this deep-rooted knowing that when things don't make sense, the Lord makes a way. Can I get an amen, somebody? Believe that the Lord is making a way, and this is just a season of transition. The next season of your life is going to be so fruitful. All you have to do is keep the faith and continue to do whatever it is that you can right now. That's all God is asking you to do in this season of your life. Surrender, go with the flow, and have faith. Don't give up on yourself because things are hard. No season lasts forever. I love y'all so much, and I hope that y'all have an amazing day, week, and rest of the year. And I hope that you will just hold on a little while longer and have faith that God is going to come through exactly when you need him. And I understand it may feel like that's right now, but God's timing is the best of all. Bye.